Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a pilot, and welcome to CheckRide Coach. All right, so CheckRide Coach is a learning platform that helps you, a pilot, prepare for your check ride. Now, as a student pilot, it is the most intimidating thing walking into as a first time student pilot. You hear all these things about how people might fail their check ride, and so you scour the internet trying to figure out what can you find and what's the best optimal thing to prepare you at their very best. So for me, when I was in the check ride prep stage, my instructor said, go grab this ACS, get a far aim, go get a P-hack, and go study. I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know what to do. So I actually started to open up the book and read everything. And I was like, this can't be the way. This isn't optimal. So over time, I constantly met with my CFI, other CFIs to get mock check rides. Also partnered up and buddied with some other student pilots who I know in that final check ride prep phase. And collectively, I was able to work together and prepare. And I'm a pilot. I passed my check ride. But I will never forget the moment where we had about an hour drive to the airport. I was with my CFI. We dropped the plane off the night before, and I'm sitting in the back seat saying, "Ask me more questions. Ask me more questions." Because even though I studied so much, I still felt like I wasn't prepared, and I had no idea what to expect. And so he calmed me down. He asked me a bunch of questions. He said, "No, I think you're ready." And so because of that feeling and also because of that start and how that what that process was like for me to prepare for my check ride, I wanted to create a resource that was able to help student pilots like yourself be prepared and feel confident and be ready to prepare for their check ride. Building this project wasn't just me. I worked with several different CFIs that helped me along my journey at my flight school, and collectively with different strategies and ideas, we mashed these together and came up with one of the most optimal ways that we found help people find success in using modern technology. So today I present to you CheckRide Coach. So here is the CheckRideCoach dashboard. Once you sign up and get onboarded, you'll find yourself here. One of the first things I want to show you is one of the most important parts of this whole um, tool that you can use is the missed ACS codes, right? So we all took our written exam. Once you take your written exam and you go through our onboarding, you can take a photo and scan the paper that you have that shows your results, and then from that it pulls the codes and tells you exactly where you need to improve, and so the areas that you missed. From there, we're gonna go back to the dashboard, and we also have an option to where you can go through your study plan. When you come over here to the study plan, it's going to tell you what you should do or what they recommend doing that for that day. So for this plan, it's telling us that we should do some review the ACS topics that we missed. Also, which means going in, highlighting, and actually writing the answers in quick cheat sheets in the actual ACS, because that is a document that you could take into your check ride. We also recommend doing some voice coach sessions, some flashcard drills, and then some scenario practice, and then some other training focus drills. In this, we also have like recommended timeline, 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out, what you should be doing based on each week, um, as well as other materials that you need for your check ride. So it also gives you a checklist of all the documents you might need and then how to use it. Now I want to go back over to uh, the main dashboard. And of course, it also measures your progress, and then in your progress, you can get more into detail of how you're doing, how you're performing based on the questions, what's your weekly progress looking like, as well as topics you need to master, some current trends, how you've been performing, and then some focus areas. These are key things that we really need to pay attention to, because these are some areas that we didn't do so hot on our written exam. We also have um, some flashcards. You can go in, start using flashcards, and it asks you basic questions, but also can give you some more complex questions. So the more questions that you answer correctly, the more difficult that the questions get. So what are some documents required in your possession during the flight? And it shows you must have a valid pilot certificate, medical certificate, government issue ID, and photo ID. And then if you got that right, you can click got it, and it will take you to the next question. just like all the other training platforms that we have. One of the main reasons why people really want to use CheckRide Coach is the Voice Coach AI feature. All right. So, Voice Coach, you get to come in and you get to pick some of your focus areas. So, let's say we want to go over aerodynamics, we want to go over emergency procedures, and then we want to go over airspace, right? We're going to do that, and then we're going to continue with selected topics, and then we're going to start our voice session.
Welcome back. We'll focus on aerodynamics and principles of flight, emergency procedures, and airspace and air traffic control. Ready to continue your check ride practice? Just say ready when you'd like to begin.
Ready.
Excellent. Let's officially begin your oral examination session. I'll evaluate your responses and provide immediate feedback to help you prepare for your check ride. Here's your first question. What does a segmented circle at an airport indicate?
A segmented circle indicates the flow traffic pattern at that specific airport.
6 out of 10. You identified that the segmented circle is related to the traffic pattern, but it would be more complete to specify that it indicates the direction of traffic flow for the airport, which helps pilots understand how to enter and exit the traffic pattern. This is outlined in the Aeronautical Information Manual, AEM, under Traffic Pattern Procedures. Next question. What are the required VFR weather minimums in Class D airspace?
So that's just a quick sample of how the AI works. It listens to you, it grades your responses, and it tells you how to improve. This is to help you answer and be more effective in your check rides. Now, remember though, in your check rides, you don't want to give more information than the actual. So always keep it simple, right? And so in this voice coach, we have the session progress. So it tells you how your progress is coming along. Then we also have here, you have like your history. So you can take a look at the chat and see what you said, what you did, and it also says all these things so you can come back to it. So people really like this. We also have the AI assistant. Now, AI assistant is one of the best tools out there because you can ask it any question and it not only gives you the answer, but it also gives you where to find it, a memory aid, and why it's important. So let's just look at VFR minimums. All right. So the VFR minimums, it comes in and tells us the minimum visibility required for safety, and it gives us examples. At 10,000 feet MSL, we got the 3152s here. We also have a memory aid, 3152, three statute high visibility, 1,000 feet above the clouds, 500 feet below, and 2,000 feet horizontally from the clouds. References, it tells you exactly where you could find that in your fire aim and in your PHAT, and then some practical tips. So this is really important. It comes in handy when you are going through tabbing out your documents, and or maybe when your CFI is just having an actual session asking you questions. You can use this to figure out where it's at, to then go back to your book and highlight it and then tab it out. And one of the last features we're really excited to roll out with CheckRide Coach is Rate My DPE. So when you're preparing for your check ride, it's super important that we are able to get a gauge. And so just get a little bit of information about what that examiner is expecting, what things might he ask, or any hiccups that might arise to kind of help prepare us. And so we created the Rate My DPE, and this is where you can go in and tell us who the examiner was, rate them based on your performance. And this is basically where our community will be able to collaborate and communicate, and share little information about those examiners to help us and help us all prepare as a community. And that's CheckRide Coach. It is an all-in-one platform that helps you, a student pilot, prepare for your check ride in many ways, more than just one. If you're interested and you think this is something that you'd love to use, I highly recommend signing up and joining us and using this as you prepare for your check ride. We have a bunch of more features coming out and additional resources that we want to add. So we're excited to have you on board, and we're excited for you to pass your check ride. Until next time, peace.